Inside Training Camp Live, presented to you by State Farm. The road show is in Napa today. I know, tough life. In Napa for the Raiders and the Rams. Not a game. We're talking about a joint practice, and we are here for 5 hours for that joint practice on these fields. Behind us here, it is the final edition. It's been fun, boys, of Inside Training Camp Live, presented to you by State Farm. Thank you for being with us today, spending part of your Wednesday here in Northern California. I'm Andrew Siciliano. That down there is Steve Smith Sr. This is Raider legend Maurice Jones-Drew.
Raider legend?
I don't know about all that, but I'll tell you this, Steve.
Jacksonville.
I told you I was going to go off today. You want to know
why? Why are you going off?
Why? I don't know. How long have we been doing ITC Live?
Like 2 weeks?
No, I mean, this like overall, like a couple years.
Many years, yeah.
I've been in NFL Network 5 years. It's the first time I've ever been to Napa, and I live 40 minutes
You
away.
get a home game today.
So are you complaining?
No question.
Why are you complaining?
Because I play for the Raiders. I live by the Raiders.
So what?
I live
You had
next to the Raiders.
43 carries as a Raider.
I
How
did.
many carries?
43.
That was.
He got 2 cups of coffee.
That's why I said it was a hot
That's why
second.
they didn't invite you here, because you wasn't here long enough.
But
Didn't make an impact.
No, I had an
You
impact.
quit.
I was a coach.
After the 44th one, he said, "No, I'm done."
Listen, I was a player's coach. You know, when you get late in your years, you know, you weren't a player's coach, but some of us end up being
You know what
a
that's
player
called?
coach. What?
Stealing. That's what it is.
Well, I didn't steal from here. I gave
Thief.
him everything.
You thief.
I gave him my hand.
Who was the coach?
Dennis Allen. But let me tell you something. Before we get
He was
started,
a lame duck that year, huh?
I don't know what you're talking about.
I
don't
say
know what
it.
you're talking
He's a
about.
lame duck.
But I'll tell you this much.
Yes. Keep telling us
My
about
neighbors
Yeah.
are Paul Gunther, John Gruden.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Okay?
Your neighbors now?
Right now. I could throw a rock and hit Derek Carr's house. Carl Joseph lives by the crib as well.
Okay.
I'm just happy to be here.
What kind of neighbor is John Gruden?
Well, the first time, I really, we don't see each other as much because he's always in the office, which is a good thing because I just don't like him to be so noisy and yelling because it'll take the property value down.
So let me ask you this. So you name
We're gonna
drop
talk
him
football
that he's
next.
a neighbor, but then you don't really talk to him as a neighbor.
Well,
So
he's
you're a
never,
name
he's
dropper.
never there. He's not there. He's
Name
working. He's
dropper,
always in
huh?
the building, sleeping.
Do you guys you lean over the fence?
No, they don't
talk
do
to him
that.
over the-
Y'all ain't talking to him.
No, we don't do. No, you can't. Don't lean over on my property.
Because, Carr and Gruden are building houses next to each other.
Yeah, no, I don't.
Where, in Vegas?
In Vegas, literally next to each other.
Yeah, real like.
Like he's building it as a rental home, or like as he's going to stay there?
Which one?
Car.
Okay, I don't know.
I'm assuming he's gonna stay if he building.
Okay.
You're really good at transitions. We should talk about the Raiders offense. now.
Let's talk about it.
We're going to see the Raiders offense out here later today against the Rams defense. That's why we love these joint practices. You get ones against ones. Derek Carr, with a 4-12 team from a year ago that was 28th in scoring, has a lot of new toys, guys. Josh Jacobs, the first-round pick. Antonio Brown, who we do not expect out there on the field today. He's still dealing with foot issues. Eventually, we assume he will be out there. When they get all these pieces in the right places, how long do we think it's going to take for this offense to get rolling?
I think the running game is starting to click now, and that's important because John Gruden, we know, wants to be power football. We always know the mantra, pound the rock. That's what we hear from him. So the running game is getting there. I think the passing game is going to take a little bit of time, but not too long. I feel like when you watch some of the practices, when you're studying the tape and all the different things, and I get an opportunity to talk to some of these guys, the people I've talked to, Carr and Williams are clicking right now at a high level. Carr and AB were clicking in OTAs, working all the time together. So they're putting the time and the effort in. It's just important to get everyone there together so that you can make things work. I know there's going to be other pieces that are going to need to show up, but right now your main pieces are working. Your first-round running back, your 2 high-profile free agents, and your quarterback are starting to work together. That's what you need to – that's how you get going.
Well, I think it's a gift and a curse to have AB out, right? Because he's one of the most explosive wide receivers. He works his butt off. But it gives also some of these young guys an opportunity to step up to the plate, to get an opportunity to flash. You want to be – a young guy wants to do this. He wants to make a play a day. He always wants to have, when the management or coaches turn on the film, they want to make sure that this guy is showing up. What does he do? Does he show up or does he muck up, right? And so you got to be able to do ladder of the muck up in mental errors and show up and show splashes that you can make plays and be counted upon. And then when you add AB when he's healthy and he's going to go and do AB, man, you got other guys around you. And now instead of a 1 or 2 man show, you call that a team. You call that a gang, a guys that you can count on. And that's what this offense needs. But you said something that was very interesting. And I hear from coaches all the time, but then when I evaluate and watch film, because we do watch film.
Yeah, we got to.
I always hear run the ball, pound the ball, do this, do that. But yet, all they're going to do is throw the ball. At the end of the day, these wide receivers ain't here to block. Now, we're supposed to block, but we're really not here to block as much as people think.
No question.
You're here to catch passes because if you run and you make a great route and they don't throw you the ball, you know what that is? You just kill grass. That's all. Because you got to jog back, and that's where what's the word comes? Some people call them divas, but it's called frustration.
Spoken like a true wide receiver.
Now I got my Fitbit on. Now I'm just counting my steps.
You blocked, though. I see you blocked.
Oh, I blocked because I was frustrated when I didn't get the ball, so I took it out on.
Which makes you a better blocker.
Yeah, so I just took it out on the DB. So my thought process was also, let me question and see, is he really about that life? Will he be able to handle dealing with me for 60 plays? And generally, question is, nope.
Without AB, Tyrell Williams, can't forget him. The former Charger is here. We'll see plenty of him. By the way, did you guys see Hard Knocks last night?
No, not yet.
Okay.
I'm waiting.
It was pretty good. If you missed Hard Knocks on HBO, the Raider debut, they were in meetings, by the way, when it debuted. Here's what you missed.
I don't want any rookie hazing. Okay, now, if you guys have them sing the fight song or something like that, I'm all for that. But
Gruden opened the show last night with a clip that some people had seen last week in which he said, the NFL is about dreams. I'm not about dreams anymore. All of you have dreams. I'm about nightmares. I'm about giving the guy across from you a nightmare. End his dream. And then, of course, the Hard Knocks music underneath it, and then the autumn wind right there. It's pretty cool.
That's what you do. You shatter man's dreams. You make them question themselves. That's what it's about. I'm interested to see this practice because, we'll get into it, but I believe as these teams start to practice against each other, it's not the heat. It's not the plays. What really magnifies fights in training camp is performance and coaching. If you underperform, these coaches turn it up.
Yes.
They overcoach you. They press into you. The young guys, the middle of the road guys, the guys who are on the fringe are the guys who usually start your fights because the coaching is telling them, you didn't show up in this run game. You didn't do this fit. So these guys naturally respond in a way is, let me just like Coach said, we're going to lead the league in effort. So I'm going to give you all my effort to break your back. And generally the other guy said, excuse me? And so that's where the fight starts. And it's competition.
Well, this one is scheduled for 2 rounds. Today and tomorrow they are practicing together, the Raiders and the Rams here. Often we see the fights day 2. We'll see if it gets heated a little bit day 1.
It's a little private play.
I think he worked that into his contract. And then he drove up last night, yesterday with the 49ers.
He cleared
and then
to get his little private plane like that.
I mean,
it's a little private plane.
I think he worked that into his contract. And then he drove up last night from Santa Clara. He is here.
In a little car, too?
I don't know. Ian, did you drive up in a little car?
It was a Kia, but it was one of those mini little SUV things, so it really depends on your perspective there, guys.
Well, we need video of that. Maybe we'll work that into it. Antonio Brown, Ian, not expected on the field behind us today for this joint practice. Are we going to see him anytime soon?
Well, from what I was told, Antonio Brown still day-to-day was away from this facility yesterday, seeing a specialist. He's done this before, did it a couple days ago. And remember, this all goes back to his feet, which he so disgustingly posted on Instagram a couple weeks ago, something that now, for those of us who watched Hard Knocks, is going to be a big storyline now. When is Antonio Brown going to be back, and when are his feet going to be better? As far as the backstory and what led to this, what I was told, talking to a couple Raiders people, basically the story that they are saying is that Antonio Brown used a cryogenic chamber without proper footwear, and that is why his feet ended up the way they did. Certainly there's some other questions medically for his feet, how they ended up looking like that, how he trained through feet which are really so badly injured that he really can't continue to train. A lot of questions there, but at the very least, that is the story they are saying. Still day-to-day unclear when Antonio Brown's going to get back out at practice.
All right, hope to see him out there soon, certainly, if not today or if not in the game Saturday, which you would have to expect now that if he's not practicing, he will not play in, then potentially at least by week 1, which is still a month away. Thank you, Ian Rappaport.